Hello everyone and welcome to my Y and R CBS Daily Update channel. CBS Y and R spoilers next week. Will Nikki see again? Nick's threat leaves Sharon terrified. Nikki Newman's family gathered anxiously outside her hospital room as doctors prepared to remove the bandages covering her damaged eyes. Victor promised she would recover, but Nikki could hear the fear hidden beneath his confidence. Across Genoa City, Nick cornered Sharon with evidence linking her to the mysterious car that had followed Nikki before the accident. He warned that if Nikki remained blind, he would personally expose every secret Sharon had buried. Sharon's face drained of color. She insisted she had never intended to hurt Nikki, but one terrifying question remained. What had Sharon done, and who was she protecting? Morning light spilled through the hospital windows, but Nikki Newman could not see it. She sat upright in bed with thick white bandages wrapped across her eyes. The darkness had become familiar during the past several days, yet it still frightened her every time she woke. At first, Nikki had believed the loss of her vision would be temporary. The doctors had explained that swelling near the optic nerves made it impossible to know how much damage had occurred. They needed time before they could remove the bandages and test her eyesight. That time had finally come. Victor stood beside the bed, holding her hand. "You're trembling," he said softly. "I'm trying not to. You have nothing to fear, my baby." Nikki gave a small, nervous laugh. "That is easy for you to say. You can see the room. You can see the doctors' faces." Victor tightened his grip on her hand. "You will see them too. You don't know that." "Yes, I do." "No, Victor, you believe because you cannot accept anything else." The confidence in his expression weakened. Nikki sensed it immediately. "You're frightened too." Victor sat beside her. "I am not frightened. You're holding my hand so tightly I can barely feel my fingers." He loosened. Victoria stared at him. Another target. Before Nick could answer, Dr. Monroe entered the hallway. "We are ready." The family immediately gathered around him. Victor stepped out of Nikki's room. "What happens now? I'll remove the bandages slowly and test Mrs. Newman's response to light. And then, we determine whether she can see." Victor's impatience showed. "That is obvious." The doctor remained calm. "It may not be immediate. Her vision could return gradually. She may see shapes or light before details." Victoria asked the question everyone feared. "And if she sees nothing?" Dr. Monroe paused. "Then we run further tests." Victor stepped closer. "You will do more than run tests." "Dad," Nick warned. Victor turned. "My wife nearly lost her life. She may have lost her sight. I will not stand here while people speak in vague possibilities." Dr. Monroe nodded. "I understand your frustration, but Nikki needs calm right now." Victor looked back toward the room and forced himself to regain control. The doctor entered, followed by Victor, Victoria, and Nick. Claire and Adam remained outside, giving the immediate family privacy. Nikki heard the door close. "Is everyone here?" Victoria touched her arm. "I'm right beside you." Nick stood near the foot of the bed. "I'm here too, Mom." Nikki smiled faintly. "Your father?" Victor kissed her hand. "I'm not going anywhere." Dr. Monroe adjusted the light above the bed. "Nikki, I'm going to begin removing the bandages." Her breathing quickened. Victor whispered, "You're safe." The doctor slowly unwound the fabric. Layer after layer was removed. The room became so quiet that Nick could hear the clock on the wall. Finally, the last strip of gauze came away. Nikki kept her eyes closed. Dr. Monroe spoke gently. "Open them when you're ready." Nikki tried. Her eyelids fluttered, then opened slightly. She immediately winced. "Too bright." Victoria gasped with hope. "You can see the light. I can feel it." The doctor dimmed the room. "Try again." Nikki slowly opened her eyes. At first everything was black, then a faint grey haze appeared. She blinked repeatedly. "What do you see?" Victor asked. "I don't know." "Do you see me?" Nikki turned toward his voice. "I see something." Victor's face transformed with relief. "What?" "A shape." Victoria began crying. "That's good. That's something." Nikki tried to focus. The shape in front of her remained blurred, but there was movement and light. Then a sharp pain tore through her head. She cried out and closed her eyes. Victor caught her shoulders. "What happened?" "My head." The monitors began beeping faster. Dr. Monroe asked everyone to step back. Nikki pressed her hands against her temples. "It hurts." Victor refused to move. "Do something." The doctor checked her pupils. "We need to stop the test." Nikki opened her eyes again despite the pain. "I want to try." "You need rest." "No, I need to know." The doctor held 2 fingers in front of her. "How many fingers?" Nikki stared. The grey haze moved. She thought she could see something, but the shapes doubled and disappeared. "I can't tell." Victor's relief vanished. Nikki's voice broke. "I can't see you." He took her hand again. "You will." Dr. Monroe replaced a lighter protective covering over her eyes. "We need imaging immediately." Pain may indicate continued swelling. Nikki began to cry. "I thought today would give me an answer." "It has," the doctor said. "You detected light and movement. That means the optic pathways are responding." but I still can't see. Not clearly. Victor turned toward Nick. Find out who caused that accident. Nick's expression changed. I'm already working on it. Victor stared at him. What do you know? Nick looked toward Nicky. Not here. Nicky heard the hesitation. Tell me. Nick remained silent. Nick, I am blind, not helpless. He moved closer to the bed. The police found security footage near the road where your car crashed. Victor's face darkened. What kind of footage? A dark sedan followed Mom from the ranch. Nicky's breathing slowed. Followed me. Nick nodded, forgetting she could not see him. Yes. Do they know who was driving? Not yet. That was not entirely true. Nick had spent the previous night reviewing private security footage from a gas station several miles from the accident site. The driver's face had not been clear, but the license plate belonged to a rental company. The rental agreement had been signed using an alias. However, the phone number listed on the agreement had once belonged to Sharon. Nick had called her repeatedly. She had not answered. Victor stepped toward him. You are hiding something. I'm verifying it. You tell me now. Nick's anger erupted. This is exactly why I'm not telling you. You attack first and ask questions later. If someone did this to your mother, I'll handle it. Victor's eyes narrowed. You will handle nothing without me. Nicky raised her voice. Stop. The room became silent. She turned her head toward Nick. Find the truth. I will, but do not destroy someone based on suspicion. Victor looked away. Nick promised, I won't. Yet his promise felt weak because his suspicion was already turning into certainty. Across town, Sharon stood in the back room of Crimson Lights staring at a burner phone. The screen displayed 6 missed calls from Nick. She deleted them one by one. Mariah entered carrying a box of supplies. Mom. Sharon nearly dropped the phone. You startled me. Mariah noticed her pale face. What's wrong? Nothing. You look terrified. I'm worried about Nicky. Mariah set down the box. We all are. Sharon turned away. Have you heard anything? They're removing her bandages today. Sharon closed her eyes. What if she can't see? Mariah watched her carefully. You're acting like this is personal. It is personal. Nicky has been part of our lives for years. You two have never exactly been close. Sharon faced her daughter. That doesn't mean I want her hurt. No one said you did. Sharon's phone buzzed. A message appeared from an unknown number. Do not tell Nick anything. Remember what happens to Faith if you do. Sharon immediately covered the screen. Mariah noticed. Who is that? Spam. Mom. I said it's nothing. Mariah stepped closer. You've been secretive for days. Sharon forced a smile. I'm tired. You're shaking. Before Sharon could answer, someone knocked loudly at the back door. She froze. Mariah frowned. Are you expecting anyone? No. The knock came again. Sharon slowly opened the door. Nick stood outside. His face was hard and furious. We need to talk. Mariah looked between them. What is happening? Nick kept his eyes on Sharon. Ask your mother. Sharon's voice trembled. Nick, not here. Then where? Please. Mariah crossed her arms. I'm not leaving until someone explains. Sharon looked at Nick desperately. Took a photograph from his coat and placed it on the table. It showed the dark sedan at the gas station. Mariah stared at it. What is that? Nick answered. The car that followed my mother before she crashed. Sharon's face drained of color. Nick placed a second page beside it. This is the rental agreement. Mariah picked it up. The phone number. It belonged to Sharon. Mariah slowly looked at her mother. Sharon backed away. I can explain. Nick stepped toward her. You had better start now. I didn't cause Nicky's accident. Then why was your number on the rental agreement? I didn't rent that car. Someone used your identity. Yes. Who? Sharon hesitated. Nick slammed his palm against the table. Who? Mariah jumped. Sharon whispered, I can't tell you. Nick's voice became dangerously quiet. My mother may never see again. I know. And you expect me to accept that answer? Sharon's eyes filled with tears. I'm trying to protect someone. Nick stared at her. Who matters more than the truth? Sharon said nothing. Nick moved closer. If Nicky remains blind, I swear I will expose every secret you are hiding. Fear flashed across Sharon's face. You don't understand. Then make me understand. I can't. Nick pointed toward the photograph. You were connected to that car. Until you give me another name, I have to believe you were involved. I would never hurt Nicky. You've done things you once said you would never do. Sharon recoiled. Mariah stepped between them. That's enough. Nick looked at her. No, it isn't. He turned back to Sharon. You have until tonight. Or what? Or I take this to the police and to Victor. Sharon's eyes widened. You can't tell Victor. That reaction tells me everything. Nick, please. He will tear your life apart if he believes you blinded Nicky. Sharon whispered. That is exactly what someone wants. Nick stopped. What does that mean? Sharon stared at the threatening message on her hidden phone. Before she could answer, the burner device began ringing. All three of them looked toward the sound. Nick's eyes narrowed. That isn't your normal phone. Sharon rushed toward it, but Nick grabbed the device first. The caller ID displayed only one word. Faith. Nick answered. Who is this? A distorted voice replied. Tell Sharon the clock is running out. Then the line went dead. Nick slowly lowered the phone. Sharon began to cry. They have Faith. Dr. Monroe entered for another vision test. Are you ready to try again? Nicky smiled nervously. As ready as I'll ever be. The lights were dimmed, the protective covering was removed. Nicky slowly opened her eyes. At first she saw only grey shadows, then the darkness began to separate. A shape appeared in front of her. She blinked, the shape became a face, blurred, imperfect, but recognizable. Victor, his breath caught. You see me? Nikki began crying. I see your outline. He leaned closer. What else? She turned toward Victoria. I see light behind you. Victoria smiled through tears. Dr. Monroe held up 3 fingers. How many? Nikki focused with all her strength. The image doubled, then slowly merged. 3. The room erupted with relief. Victor kissed her hands. Nikki looked toward the doorway. Another blurred figure stood there. Sharon, yes, Nikki smiled. I can see you too. Sharon began crying. The recovery was not complete. Nikki's vision remained weak, and the doctors warned that healing could take months. Some damage might be permanent.